The mist was clinging to the glass walls of my greenhouse, turning the world outside into a blur of white and green. I was watching the condenser coil of my largest still, counting the drops of lavender oil as they fell into the beaker. Drip, drip, drip. It was a rhythm I lived by. Precise, predictable, quiet. Then, a car horn shattered it. Not a polite tap, but a long, aggressive blare that vibrated against the glass panes. I looked at the security monitor. A beat-up sedan was idling at my front gate. The driver's door opened, and a woman stepped out, shielding her eyes against the mountain sun. Then the passenger door opened. Suitcases hit the gravel. 2 of them. Big ones. I recognized the presumptive way they moved before I even saw their faces clearly. It was my mother, Catherine, and my sister, Kaya. I hadn't seen them in 13 years. And yet, there they were, unloading luggage onto my driveway as if they were checking into a hotel they owned. I didn't panic. I didn't rush. I simply reached out and lowered the flame on the burner. The distillation could wait. The invasion had begun. Before I tell you what happened when I opened that gate, drop a comment and let me know. What time is it where you are right now? And where are you watching from? I want to see how far this story travels. 13 years is a long time to let a wound heal. Or at least, to let it scar over. Seeing them standing there brought it all back. Not as a flood of emotion, but as a series of sharp, clear images. I wasn't always the woman in the glass house. At 16, I was just the girl in the garage. The weird dirt girl. That's what Kaya used to call me. She was the sun in our family's solar system, bright, loud, demanding gravity. I was the soil. Necessary. Trodden upon. Silent. While she was chasing trends and modeling for local catalogs, I was studying botany textbooks I'd checked out from the library. I spent my weekends mixing organic balms and salves in the corner of the garage my father, Douglas, had cleared out for me. Kaya called them my mud potions. She'd pinch her nose when she walked by, making a show of how much my work offended her delicate senses. My mother, Catherine, he would just laugh. Let her play in the dirt. She'd say, at least she's out of the way. The dynamic was simple. Kaya wanted, and I provided. If she needed money for a concert, my allowance was garnished. If she needed a ride, my schedule was cleared. I was the infrastructure that allowed her to shine. I accepted it because I thought that's what love was, service. I didn't realize I was just staff. One afternoon, I had a tray of expensive samples setting on the counter, a calendula infusion I'd spent weeks perfecting. Kaya swept into the garage with her friends, looking for a place to set up her makeup station for a photo shoot. She took one look at my tray, wrinkled her nose, and swept the entire thing into the trash bin. Glass shattered. Weeks of work, gone in a second. I needed the space. Natalie, she said, not even looking at me. Don't leave your stinky mess where people can see it. When I complained to Catherine, she sighed. It's just mud. Natalie, Kaya has a real career to think about. Stop being so selfish. Selfish. That word followed me like a shadow. But the breaking point, the moment the soil finally rejected the seed, happened a year later. We called it the laboratory fire, though that makes it sound grander than it was. I was at school. Kaya was home, bored, and decided the garage lighting was perfect for a selfie. She knocked over a Bunsen burner I had left cooling. It ignited a stack of dried herbs. The fire was small, contained, quickly, but the smoke damage was significant. When I got home, the narrative had already been written. Kaya was sobbing on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, coughing delicately. Catherine was pacing the kitchen, a look of pure fury on her face. You could have killed us all, she screamed the moment I walked in. Leaving your dangerous chemicals out like that, what is wrong with you? I tried to explain that the burner had been off, that someone must have knocked it over. But facts didn't matter. Kaya's tears were the only evidence Catherine needed. We have to pay for the cleaning, Catherine said, her voice cold. And since it was your mess, you're going to pay for it. She went into my room. She took the cash box from under my bed, $4,000 I had saved from summer jobs. Money meant for college. For escape. She took it all. This barely covers the stress you've caused your sister, she said, pocketing the cash. Then she pointed to the door. Get out. I can't have someone reckless in this house. I left that night with a backpack and a hollow feeling in my chest. I didn't know then that it was the best thing she ever did for me. I walked to the front door of my estate. The gravel crunched under my boots. A sound that felt loud in the mountain silence. I could see them through the frosted glass. Distorted shapes that still managed to look entitled. I unlocked the deadbolt. But I didn't swing the door wide. I opened it just a crack. The door crack technique. Enough to see. Not enough to enter. Kaya was right there. Hand already reaching for the handle to push past me. She froze. She looked older. Harder. The brightness of her youth replaced by a brittle, frantic energy. Her makeup was perfect. But her eyes were tired. Catherine stood behind her, clutching a designer bag that looked worn at the seams. Surprise, Kaya said, her voice pitching up into a fake, bright squeal. Oh my God. Natalie, look at this place. We heard you bought the old Galloway estate. Can you believe it? Grandpa used to say he built this place originally. Did you know that? It's basically family property. It was a lie. A delusion. Our grandfather was a mechanic in Ohio. He had never stepped foot in North Carolina. But Kaya had always been good at rewriting reality to fit her needs. Since it's practically ours anyway, she continued, breathless. We figured we'd move in to help you manage it. You know, keep it in the family. She tried to step forward, expecting me to step back. I didn't move. I looked at her. Really looked at her. And I saw the calculation behind the smile. They didn't know. They thought they were crashing a stranger's investment property. Or maybe a distant relative's vacation home. They didn't know who was on the deed. I bought this estate, I said, my voice calm. Through a blind trust. The LLC is named Nemesis Holdings. Did you think that was a coincidence? The color drained from Kaya's face. Catherine blinked, confused. What are you talking about? You bought it. With what money? You work in dirt? I own the dirt, I corrected. And everything that grows in it. I reached behind the doorframe and picked up the folder I had prepared. It wasn't thick. Just a few sheets of paper. But it weighed heavily in my hand. I stepped out onto the porch. Closing the door behind me, I placed the folder on the small iron table between us. This is a notice of no trespassing, I said. And this, I pointed to the second document, is a ledger. It details the $4,000 you stole from me 13 years ago. Adjusted for inflation and interest, that comes to $9,400. If you want to talk about family property, let's start with that. I closed the door. I locked the deadbolt. I didn't wait for their reaction. I didn't listen to the sputtering protests or the sudden pounding on the wood. I walked back down the hallway, my footsteps echoing on the hardwood. I went back to the greenhouse. Back to the lavender. Back to the work. People ask why I didn't feel guilty. Why I didn't open the door for my own mother. It's simple economics. We treat family like a bad stock we refuse to sell because we've invested so much time in it. We think about the years, the history, the shared blood. And we tell ourselves we can't walk away because we've already paid so much. But that's the sunk cost fallacy. In botany, if a branch is rotting, you don't argue with it. You don't try to love it back to health while it poisons the rest of the tree. You prune it. You cut it off cleanly, without hesitation, so the rest of the organism can survive. I realized a long time ago that you cannot audit a relationship that only accepts deposits and never allows withdrawals. My mother and sister were not investments. They were liabilities. And I was done balancing their books. They didn't leave. Of course, they didn't. They retreated to a cheap motel down in the valley and launched a war. Kaya did what she does best. She performed. She took to TikTok and Instagram, eyes glistening with practiced tears, filming herself sitting on the edge of a motel bed. My own sister. She sobbed into the camera. A billionaire living in a castle. Left us to rot. We are homeless. We are starving. And she slammed the door in our faces. She didn't mention the luggage. She didn't mention the 13 years of silence. She painted a picture of a cruel monster hoarding a family estate. And the internet ate it up. The notifications started rolling in. Strangers flooded my business page with 1-star reviews. Heartless. They wrote, "How can you sleep at night?" Then came the flying monkeys, the relatives I hadn't spoken to in a decade. Cousins who had ignored me at reunions. Aunts who had laughed when I was kicked out. My phone buzzed with messages. "Natalie, this is cruel. Your mother is sleeping in a motel. Have you no shame? Family helps family. Natalie, fix this." The pressure was designed to crack me. It was a whisper campaign meant to isolate me until I surrendered. I sat in my office, watching the hate comments roll in on one screen and my sales figures on the other. I didn't reply. I didn't defend myself. I posted nothing about them. Instead, I posted a time-lapse video of a rare ghost orchid blooming in my greenhouse. Silent. Beautiful. Unbothered. I realized something then. If protecting my sanctuary makes me the villain in their story, then I will gladly wear the black hat. I will be the witch in the tower. I will be the cold-hearted queen. Because in my story, I am finally free. I accepted the role. I let them have their narrative. I kept my peace. But I wasn't passive. I was systematic. I called my lawyer. A woman named Sarah, whose chronic cystic acne I had cured with a custom regimen 3 years ago. She answered on the first ring. I saw the TikToks. She said, "Do you want me to handle it, please?" I said, "We drafted a cease and desist for defamation. But the real weapon wasn't the legal threat, it was the receipts. I didn't post them publicly. I didn't want a circus. I posted them to the family group chat, the one they had added me to, just to scold me. I uploaded the photos of the official fire report from 13 years ago. The one that clearly stated the cause was an unattended burner knocked over by negligent activity, contradicting the story that it was my chemicals. I uploaded the bank statements showing the withdrawal of my savings the day I was kicked out. And then, the kill shot a side-by-side timeline. On the left, my business growth, time-stamped and verified. On the right, public records of their debt accumulation, credit card defaults, and eviction notices from 3 different states. I am not hoarding family money. I wrote, I am protecting my earnings from a proven history of financial abuse. Any further harassment will be met with a restraining order. The chat went silent. The flying monkeys evaporated. The ownership fallacy, the idea that they owned what they destroyed, was crushed by the weight of paper trails. Then, a letter arrived at the gate. It wasn't from a lawyer. It was handwritten on heavy, cream-colored paper. I recognized the script immediately. It was from Douglas, my father, the man who had stood in the background for my entire life. Silent, while Catherine raged. I opened it warily. Natalie. It read, I know you think I didn't care. But who do you think bought your first 10 batches of balm when you launched online? Who do you think anonymously paid for your first greenhouse permit? My breath hitched. He included receipts old, faded receipts from years ago, showing purchases made under a pseudonym. He had been there, quietly, secretly. But the next paragraph chilled me to the bone. You need to know why they are really there. It isn't just money. Catherine took out loans in my name to fund Kaya's lifestyle. High interest. Private loans from dangerous people. They owe $50,000 to loan sharks in Atlanta. They didn't come to your house to visit. Natalie. They came to hide. They are using you as a human shield. Do not let them in. They will bring the fire with them. The guilt vanished instantly. They weren't family in need. They were fugitives looking for a fortress. 2 hours later, the intercom at the gate buzzed. I checked the camera. It was Catherine. She was alone this time. She looked frantic. Her hair disheveled. Her eyes darting around the empty road behind her. Natalie. Please, she screamed into the speaker. You have to let us in. They found us. They know we're here. They sent a message. Just let us stay in the guest house. We won't bother you. Please. I'm your mother. I pressed the button to speak. My voice came out magnified. Metallic. Echoing off the stone pillars. I know about the loans. Catherine. She froze. Douglas told me. I know you owe money to people who don't care about your tears. Then you have to help us, she shrieked. They'll hurt us. I am not your shield. I said. I am the owner of this property. I have forwarded Douglas's letter and all the information about your debts to the local police and the loan agencies. I have clarified that I have no financial ties to you and that you are not residents here. The police are on their way. You have 10 minutes to leave before you are arrested for trespassing. You can't do this, she wailed, throwing herself against the iron bars. We're family. I already did, I said, and I turned off the intercom. I watched on the monitor as she crumbled, then scrambled back to her car as a siren wailed in the distance. 6 months have passed since the frost settled. The noise has died down. Kaya is working as a receptionist at a dental office in Ohio, forced to finally grow up. Forced to earn a paycheck that doesn't come from likes or guilt trips. Catherine is dealing with the legal fallout of the fraud. I don't ask for updates. Douglas sends me clippings of rare ferns now and then. We are building something slow. Something quiet. Tonight, my greenhouse is full. Not with plants, but with people. My staff. My friends. The lawyer who saved me. The neighbors who waved at the gate. We are sitting at a long wooden table under the glass roof. Surrounded by thriving green life. The air smells of basil and laughter. People think a greenhouse is fragile because it's made of glass. They think it's weak. But they're wrong. A greenhouse isn't fragile. It's controlled. It lets in the light, the warmth, the energy, the things that help you grow. But it keeps out the frost. It keeps out the pests. It keeps out the poison. My life is a glass house now. It is transparent to those I love, showing them everything I am. But to those who bring blight, to those who bring fire, it is impenetrable. I pick up a small blue bottle from the table. It's the lavender oil I was distilling the day they arrived. Pure, clear, valuable. I didn't buy this house to impress them. I tell my guests, raising the bottle in a toast. I bought it to ensure that the only things that grow here are the things I planted myself. If you've ever had to build your own glass house to protect your peace, share a seedling emoji in the comments. You aren't alone.